Hey folks, and welcome back to Glenn and Adrian's Rock Talk. That's Adrian.
And that's Glenn.
And today we're looking at a somewhat obscure band that probably should not have been obscure. They've been called a missing link between when grunge started and the hair metal that was going on before that. They recorded what was supposed to be a fantastic album that would have definitely broken them through had it come out when they recorded it in 1989. For whatever reason, and it may have had to do with a producer that they had that Guns N' Roses wanted, the album didn't come out for 2 years. It was shelved, and the lead singer of this band, the Nymphs, her name is Inger Lorre. She got so frustrated with the whole situation that she went in and relieved herself on the desk of the A&R man over at Geffen Records, who'd been stringing them along for 2 years. Inger Lorre was celebrated enough in the community of musicians that she worked with Jeff Buckley. In general, she was considered a bright, creative artist, despite, expressing herself in a rather infamous way that actually probably gained her a lot of respect. A lot of bands go through these terrible issues that seem to make no sense whatsoever with their record labels. So they did eventually have the album come out. The album is called The Nymphs. It came out in 91. It's considered glam metal and grunge somewhere in there. It's a highly regarded album, highly respected by critics. The name of the song is Imitating Angels. This was the lead single for that album. By the time the album came out, the band had pretty much broken up, which was really unfortunate. It was just, can you imagine going through the toil of being a band, trying to go club to club, build a following? You've got this amazing record that just will not come out, and you can't record anything in the meantime. That was their situation with Geffen. Here is their video for Imitating Angels. Well, first, Adrian, I should ask you, do you know anything about this group? You ever heard about them before?
Not before today.
Okay, well, let's listen to this, and then we'll talk about it afterwards. Okay.
All right.
Came and brushed death through her hair with a loving stroke.
So just to give a little bit of perspective, at this point in time when they recorded the album, Nirvana was recording Bleach, their very first album. Pretty much an unknown band at that point. Pearl Jam was not yet a thing. It was Mother Love Bone. Soundgarden, their latest album was Ultra Mega OK, or maybe Louder. No, it was Louder Than Life. So this is early. Like, grunge isn't a thing yet. So you heard some grunge elements in there. But, but what'd you think, Adrian?
Well, the singer's voice. I had this certain, indie band sound in like the 80s and 90s.
Yeah. It's also before Mazzy Star, okay, which another band that maybe they would have sounded a little like. It was early. That's the thing to remember listening to this. Like, they had a sound that really was not popular yet, but would become very popular. And then after recording the album, it sat around for 2 years. By the time it came out, the new Nirvana album was Nevermind. It's almost like they could have said the same thing about themselves. Oh, well, never mind. We missed it. Oh, too bad. At that point, Super Unknown was out for Soundgarden. And by that time also, Pearl Jam's 10 had come out. So the whole thing had begun, essentially. Can you imagine? So by the time it came out, it wasn't anything new, really. And that must have been really frustrating.
Yeah, the song, I just found it fun to listen to.
Yeah.
Anyway, and the song has a certain rawness and a certain beauty in it at the same time.
Yeah, I agree. I really like the sound of it. It makes me want to listen to the entire album.
Yeah.
And I had never heard of the band until a couple weeks ago. I stumbled on, there was a story about it somewhere, I think, that I heard about. The lead singer passed away last October. She only managed 2 more LPs in her lifetime. Both solo albums, one of them just a couple of years ago. The whole experience just killed her enthusiasm, which is a real shame because I think that there was probably something there. She was also struggling with heroin back in the day, which was something a lot of people, unfortunately, were struggling with right around that time period. So she survived that part. But yeah, they're kind of punky and goth and grungy and maybe a little glam rock too. You saw how she was dressed there. She had kind of a headdress of some type on or something, or some makeup. Interesting band. How about you folks? Have you ever heard of this band before? If you have, let us know. Let us know what your experience was with them. Did you ever see them play? For that matter, were you a fan of Inger Laurie? Give your thoughts, give your suggestions below, please. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. And if you enjoyed the presentation, please subscribe. All right, thanks so much for joining us today, and we'll catch you on the next one. Take care, folks.
See you all later.